Yo, what up, everybody? My name is Drake Demore from the Win City Sports Podcast, and this episode of Cedric Ben's Combat Quarter is brought to you by the Win City Sports Podcast. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere podcasts are found, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or directly on wincitysports.com. Smell you later.
What up? Welcome back to Cedric's Combat Corner, number 17. I am your host, Cedric Ben. Today on the Triple C's podcast, we're going to focus on the light heavyweight unification bout that happened on Friday night between Artur Beterbiev from Russia, fighting out of Montreal, versus the other champion, Alexander Gvozdyk from the Ukraine, fighting out of the States. Two undefeated fighters in their prime, fighting for a unification. So to give you a little background on each fighter, starting with Artur Beterbiev, this guy is 15-0 with 15 KOs. Show you where his power is at. He's had an extensive amateur boxing career. He's won multiple gold medals at the European Championships and also at the World Championships, and made it to the quarterfinals of the 2012 Olympics. He had a fast start. He fought Tavares Cloud in just his sixth fight, so he was on a fast track, and he's 15-0 right now, and knocked out his biggest challenge so far. Alexander Gvozdyk, his record is 17-1. That one loss coming with this fight here. He came in with 14 KOs. He also had an extensive amateur career. He won multiple. He didn't win any gold medals, but he did medal, which is still big at international competitions. He had a few silver and bronze medals from the World's and European Championships. And in 2012, he got a bronze medal at the Olympics. His biggest win in the pro scene so far was when he stopped Adonis Stevenson a couple of fights ago. That was a big win. And he also fought Isaac Chilemba, who's a good challenger also. All right, now, details about the fight. And looks can be deceiving. If you've never seen Artur Beterbiev fight before, and this was your first time, if you're just watching the first couple of seconds, you might think that he's just a flat-footed fighter who would have trouble versus a taller, longer boxer. But the results, this was the complete opposite. And this is something that you rarely see. This is how I know Beterbiev, must have had a high level of boxing skills to be able to pull this off, because this is something that you rarely see. The shorter person, maybe I should have gave you their physical stats first. Beterbiev is 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Gvozdyk is 6'2" with a 75.5 arm length reach. So Gvozdyk 3 inches with the height and 2.5 inches with the reach. So this is what you rarely see, is the shorter person with the shorter arm reach staying flat-footed for most of the time and still being able to outbox the taller, longer opponent who's actually staying on his toes and trying to move around. For Beterbiev to pull that off so efficiently, that's not something that's just natural ability. That comes from years of experience at the highest level. As I said, this guy has multiple gold medals, not just medals, but gold medals at the amateur level. Yeah, man. The thing is, there's nothing flashy about Beterbiev. Like, you're not gonna see like amazing footwork or stepping to the side, or he's not gonna stand there and put his hands down and just move his head. His style is what you call seek and destroy. A lot of these Eastern Russian boxers, they have that style, man. There's nothing flashy. They're just They're just going to keep their hands up, stay in their boxing stance, cut off the ring, and come after you in an educated way, not just wild, in an educated way. Now, the opponent, Gvozdyk, he did display some good boxing skills. I actually gave him a few of the rounds. I think it was number 2, 6, and number 8. So he was boxing very good, but he was missing something in his offense, and I believe was the main difference that cost him the fight. And let me try to explain in detail. If you're gonna be the boxer that stays on your toes and tries to use your advantage of height and reach, that's good. If you're taller and longer, you want to be able to do that, use that to your advantage. Now, if you have that style, you don't have to have one punch KO power, but you have to have respectable power. What I mean is you can still move around and box, pop, pop, pop. But sometimes you have to sit down on your punches and then keep it moving. When I say sit down, what I mean is just for a split second, not stand there and trade toe to toe, but just for like a split second, 2-3 seconds, sit down, stop moving, spread your feet a little bit wider, specifically turn for that cross, turn your hip and pivot your back foot to put the weight onto your front leg for that cross, whether it's a straight cross or uppercut, or putting the weight onto the back leg for that hook by turning your front hip and pivoting your front foot to put the weight onto your back leg. And these have to be accurate punches on the chin or to the body. Accuracy. What this will do will at least slow the person down. It might not completely stop them from coming forward, but at least it will slow them down from just walking you down. And all you need, if you're trying to be that boxer moving around and pop, pop, pop moving, all you need is for your opponent, to have that slight hesitation from coming forward. Once you have your opponent in that position where where they're hesitating or second guessing themselves from coming forward, then that's when you can, use your own boxing skills to pick them apart. So sit down. You have to sit down against someone like Beterbiev, who's just gonna walk you down. Yeah. So that's what was missing from Gvozdyk's offense, and Beterbiev just straight up took advantage of that. And as the fight was going on, he just straight up was just walking him down, but he did it like in a skillful way. Walking someone down seems so simple, but you have to do it in a skillful way. Your lower body might not be moving that much, except for the cutting off the ring part, but your distance, that's the number one thing. As the shorter person, Beterbiev he has that perfect understanding of knowing your distance and what the person can do when they throw, and then knowing what distance you have to be to counterpunch from that. Beterbiev is very, very good at doing that. And so the fight ended, it should have ended in the 9th round, according to me, but that referee stopped it in the 10th. Before I get to the coach's focus of the week, just going to get a quick little brief analysis on what each fighter can do to improve for their next matches. Starting with Mr. Artur Beterbiev first. It's always hard to not criticize, but constructive criticism, to give that to someone who's undefeated. But if there was anything that he can take away to improve on, the only clean punches that he got hit with was some long straight punches. And that was really after he kind of told himself that Gvozdyk couldn't hurt him, and really started to walk him down. He did get hit with 1 or 2 good straight punches. Like I said, I gave Gvozdyk this 2nd, 6th, and 8th round for that exact reason there. And he did outwork him just a little bit. So just, Beterbiev, just work on catching and slipping a little bit more, and you should be good. Body shots, he landed some very good body shots. Maybe if you're facing someone that moves around a lot, body shots will definitely slow the person down. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, keep working hard, stay undefeated. He looks like he's the king of the light heavyweight division right now, to be honest with you. Beterbiev is definitely the king of that division. I know you got he just took care of Gvozdyk, Bivol. I think he'll beat Bivol, and I definitely think he'll beat Sergey Kovalev, who I believe will lose to Canelo, but we'll talk about that on the next show. Now for Gvozdyk, what I would highly suggest for him to work on is sitting down on them punches, man. Do a couple of rounds, whether it's shadow boxing, pads, and on the bag. Sit down, specifically focus on transferring the weight onto each leg. But at the same time, don't go away from what makes you a good boxer. Like, don't forget, he was still undefeated with 14 KOs going into this fight. So he obviously knows what he's doing. But just to add that to the game, add sitting down to make, put a little bit more bomb, a little bit more fire on them punches. Just to add that to the repertoire to make sure that you earn your respect. Because if you're fighting your opponent and, if the person doesn't respect your power, like I said, it doesn't matter how flashy and good you look. As soon as you throw, they're just going to walk right through that. Yeah. All right. So now for the coach's focus of the week, this new thing that I started. Okay. So specifically when coaches try to give Rocky type speeches to their fighters for inspiration. And when I say Rocky, most people have seen the movie, those Rocky movies where his coach is giving him the motivational speeches just to give that extra ounce of energy to drag it out of him. But what coaches have to realize is that Rocky is a movie. That shit ain't real life. Now, there are cases, before I go off, there are cases where you can motivate a fighter by talking to them like that, but it's only certain situations. Like, if it's a close fight between two guys and you're in the other person's hometown and you know how hard it is to win a decision in that other person's hometown and it's going both ways, back and forth, a very close match, that's when you could give one of those Rocky speeches to motivate them and tell them, give it all you got and all this, whatever, all that stuff, the motivational stuff. But if it's a situation where it's just the physicalness, I don't even know how to say the word properly. The physicality of the fight is just overwhelming your fighter. Those Rocky speeches is not going to give him that extra energy to get past what is coming at him. And this was the speech. This was the problem that I had with Mr. Teddy Atlas on Friday night, because he was Alexander Gvozdyk's coach. Now, the fight, again, it wasn't a blowout. The fight was close, back and forth. But that 9th round was a big difference. That Beterbiev really put it on him in that 9th round. And Gvozdyk's body language did not show that he wanted to continue. That bell rung, and when he turned around, he didn't even walk to his corner in a straight line. He went and sat down. Now, this is the part that really got to me. He went and sat down. I didn't hear what he said to Teddy, but I heard what Teddy said back to him. So I'm guessing what Gvozdyk said was, I don't know. I don't want to guess, but I saw him shake his head no. So if you're shaking your head no, most likely that's saying that you're not sure if you want to continue or if you can continue. And then I hear Teddy Atlas say to him, the exact words, I don't know the exact words, but it was along the lines of, get it back, talk yourself back into it. It will come back to you. If you believe, it will come back to you. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I know you're a Hall of Fame coach. You accomplished a lot, or, you've done a lot in the sport, but man, like, I think you should know the difference when a guy simply doesn't have the physicalness to continue. Your brain might, your pride might want you to continue, but once again, don't let your pride get you hurt, man. Don't let your pride get you hurt. And that's where the coach should come in, because a fighter will always have that heart to continue most of the time. If there's nothing wrong with quitting. If you only got one brain. You can break every bone and ligament in your body. You only got one brain. So I never make fun of someone who wants to quit and believes that they cannot continue. You only got one brain. So with that being said, the referee and the coach should save the fighter. Don't leave it up to the fighter himself. All right? So please think about your fighter's future, not about just making it a cool story if he can make it out of this storm that he does not look like he's going to get out of. All right? Think about the fighter's future, not about the cool story that it'll be if he gets through this. So, all I got to say is, because I've talked to a few boxers, and not just boxers, but MMA people too, that have said, like, if my coach stops the fight, I don't care what's happening. If my coach stops the fight, I'll be pissed off. And my number one response to that is, and there's usually no comeback to this. So if someone says that to me, I'll say, all right, listen, I would rather you be pissed off at me for stopping the fight too early rather than me coming to visit you in the hospital because I stopped it too late, or coming to your funeral because I stopped it too late. You're not gonna put that on me. If that's really your mentality, like you'll be pissed off at your coach, then that if he stops it instead of you going out on your shield. That's the one thing I hear. Let me die on my shield. Like, man, get the F out of here, man. This is, at the end of the day, this is a sport. We do this because we have to, because we like to, not because we have to. So think about that. Yeah, Cedric Sports, and there you have it. So make sure your coach is there for you, not just for the story. All right, man, that's it for this week. Please hit me up on any social media if you have any questions or anything you want me to add to the show, at Cedric Sports. Yeah. Shout out to Win City Sports. Peace. Thank you for listening.